বসলে হবে? বসে করা যাবে? বসে করা যাবে না?
আমপান ওকে এখানে এসে বসো না, দেখবে না এটা কিচ্ছু হবে না, একটু এসো পেছনটায় বসে থাকো, কিচ্ছু করবে না ও।
All those who have their cell phones, I request kindly keep it in silent mode. Request each voice to bring the
বাকি এগুলো সব বাকি ক্যামেরা অ্যাড করো। এই বলি আমি।
Shilpi ma'am, if parents to this side.
কি করো? Hello.
I would just like to repeat the program. We start with a march past, followed by the lighting of the lamp and handing over the lamp to the school captain, then the Sanskrit chanting, then the blessings of Swami Shivapradananda Maharaji, Secretary Ramakrishna Mission Purulia, followed by the oath taking, then handing over the sashes by Hilda Peacock Ma'am, Director, James Academy, Kolkata, and a former principal of Lama Athenius, then pinning the badges by Dr. Bharati Bakshi, speech by school captain, then we have Professor Kaushik Basu's speech, virtual speech, then we have Hilda Peacock Ma'am addressing the house, vote of thanks by Ranjana Singh Gupta Ma'am, followed by the school song and the national anthem, and then the guard of honor.
Oh. Okay.
Good morning to all distinguished guests, teachers, staff, and my dear children. We start this solemn present investiture for the first time in Filix School of Education. We start with the march past.
your actions create a legacy that inspires others to dream more, learn more, and to do more, then that's an excellent leader. Good morning, all of you again. On this occasion, we repose the duties to our newly elected Students' Council, who will carry on the flag for years to come. The other children will also learn what it is to have a team, what it is to work like a team, and how it is to be a leader, and what it is to be a leader. I would request Swami Shivapradananda Maharaj, Secretary Ramakrishna Mission, to kindly come and light the lamp and hand over the lamp to our newly elected school captain. School captain, please proceed towards the lamp. The house is requested to please stand up for the Sanskrit chantings. I would request the house to kindly stand up.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityotma Amritangamaya Om Sahana Sahano Bhunaktu Sahayam Vedasvaditamaskuma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Harihi Om Tat Sat.
I would request Maharaj Swamiji, Secretary Math Sir, to give the blessings to the newly elected captains.
Good morning to everybody. Respected Ranjana Sengupta, Dr. Bharati Gupta and their learned colleagues, venerable guests, guardians, and my dear students. I'm very happy to be here with you all with this beautiful morning. I wish you a very joyful day. I convey my gratitude to the authorities that have invited me to join the prestigious function of the Filix School of Education. The Filix School of Education, Para Purulia, was established in the year 2014 under the aegis of Nanretam, a very famous institution of our country with the objective of giving a practical and concrete shape to some of the educational ideas of Swami Vivekananda. Education, in order to be effective and fruitful, must be man-making. That is, it must bring about total and integrated development of the educand. This can be achieved only when the students are brought up in surroundings where their body, mind, intellect, and spirit can be looked after their florence in the congenial environment. The Filix School of Education has adopted this system suited to the modern conditions of life. Education means not only education in skills, which are physical, but also education in thoughts, ideas, outlook, and attitudes. Should a teacher impose his own ideas and views on a child because he or she thinks they are good or right. The question of a teacher's role in education and upbringing of a child has been debated for ages. It is said that a teacher needs to do is to surround him with protective care. The child is like a plant which grows according to its own potential, and the teacher, whose function is like that of a gardener, give him all the care necessary to help him grow as best he can. The teacher cannot superimpose anything on the student. The teacher can only draw which is already in him. The teacher helps student choose to right course and reject the wrong one. Discipline is best when
A child must increase his inner strength to protect himself from evils. Sri Ramakrishna let each disciple follow his mental bent of mind and natural bent of mind, for he knew that his students, his disciples, each individuals were unique. If a disciple tried to imitate others, he would discourage. He knew one could not go against one's own nature for long. Another characteristic of Sri Ramakrishna was that he never lectured anybody. Gently, with understanding and affection, he would guide the steps of his disciples so that they might grow to their fullness, to the limit of their capacities. The learning process covers the entire lifespan of a child. All men and women are in fact learners. But what does the school do? School sharpens the tools by which one is to learn. It sharpens the tools of thinking, reasoning, understanding, moral sense, tools of self-discipline. It also tells the child that
the goal is fiction, and the child should never stop before reaching it. It creates in the learner the art to push on through difficulties to scale moral excellence, to aspire the best, highest, and noblest. Parents send their children to school not hoping for any easy miracle, but see their children equipped to struggle for the fulfillment not by anybody's mercy, but by their own. Modern society mostly the only way to keep them is by promoting the sense of oneness. The educational structure should be so oriented to make this possible. This institution invites the blessings of Swami Lokeshwaranandaji. Revered Maharaj was an eminent monk of Ramakrishna order. He founded famous Ramakrishna.
I offer my most respectful pranam to Swami Lokeshwaranandaji Maharaj. May Sri Ramakrishna bless you all so that you can grow from strength to strength. I thank you all for your patient hearing. Thank you very much.
So we are blessed. We bow down to you. Now we have the oath taking. I promise that I'll abide by the rules of my school, and in doing so, be an example to all my schoolmates. I promise that I'll carry out my duties faithfully, sincerely, and to the best of my ability. I promise that I'll be loyal to school at all times and always place the interest of the school above and that of my own. I promise that I'll endeavor to be kind and helpful to all in need, and that I shall live out the motto of the school in everything I say and do. I will always love my school, the Filix School of Education, and be proud to be a part of it. I would request our chief guest, Hilda Peacock ma'am, to kindly come up on the stage and ornament our newly appointed student council with sashes. School captain, Sumaila Ashar. Vice captain, Purva Sake. Sports captain, Ankit Goswami and Anushi Nigar. J.C. Bose House, the greenhouse, the motto, be scientific and scientific thought, Alolika Mondol and Arush Roy. Nivedita House, saffron color, service to humanity, Angira Paul and Sarthak Sarkar. Tigor House, the maroon color, creativity, Nilakshi Mahato and Sukhdev Mahato. Vidyashagar House, the blue color, Anna Mukherjee and Samajit Rajwar, education for all. Ma'am, our children are privileged to receive the sashes from you. Thank you, ma'am. I would request Dr. Bharati Bakshi, ma'am, to come and pin the badges, the most important ceremony of the whole occasion. Officially, the Students' Council is being formed We have the school captain, the vice captain, the two sports captains, the four girls house captain, and the four boys captains. In this solemn ceremony, we bestow on them the trust and confidence that we repose in the newly elected cabinet. Donning the mantle of responsibility, they all pledge to dispense their duties to the best of their abilities and abide by the rules and regulations of the school. It's an honor to the newly elected captains, as well as the Filix School of Education, that Professor Kaushik Basu has already joined virtually the ceremony. He will be addressing the House after the speech of the school captain. I have lots to speak about him, but I will be giving a short introduction before Professor Kaushik Basu speaks. So we are really honored to have you here, sir. Professor Kaushik Basu received the Padma Bhushan in the year 2008, the chief economist of the World Bank from 2012 to 16, professor of economics and Paramount professor of international studies, Cornell University, will be addressing the House after the school captain's speech. Thank you, Dr. Bharati Bakshina, and thank you to our teachers who assisted. I would request the newly elected captains to please take their seats. I would request the school captain to kindly address the House.
Good morning to one and all present here. I, Shimala Isar, am the school captain on behalf of the School of Education for this day. I aim to pass on the incredible values, lessons, and experiences that the school has showered on me. I hope to encourage students to be empowered, united, and fearless to find out and do whatever they know. I have very faint memories of my first day at Philip. I remember how much I was welcomed, we all, and The initial days were a bit difficult to get adjusted with, but soon I found my own space with the help of the management, the teachers, the friends, and our extended family members. I want to say the walls, the boards, the lights of the classroom, the playground, the park, and every little leaf growing in our school premises are inspirations to us. The management, the principal, and the teachers have always helped in all our activities and ensured us to do the right thing in the right way. I hope to discharge all my duties successfully as the school captain for this academic session. And by the end of this year, I have no doubt that we shall conquer unexplored heights and further our vision of Philixian glory together. Today I can hear the words of Nicole Machiavelli softly ringing in my ears. It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles. I pledge to serve my school to the best of my ability. To conclude with Swami Vivekananda's words, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached.
Thank you, Sumela, school captain. I invite Professor Kaushik Basu sir to be addressing the house. He is a very important part of the Nandritham as well as the Filix family. Sir, the house is open to you.
Thank you very much. Are you hearing me clearly enough?
একটুখানি একটুখানি দাও।
Sir, will you please wait for some seconds?
Sure.
মিউট নেই তো?
Sir, you may address the house now, sir. We are eagerly waiting for you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I just want to make sure that my volume of voice is conveying properly.
ওইখানটা দিতে বলা হলো যে তোমার ওটা দিয়ে দাও না।
শুনতে পাওয়া যাচ্ছে পরিষ্কার?
Sir, will you please address us? We just want to see the audio system is okay, sir. There's some
Okay.
technical issues here.
Okay. Let me begin and you can tell me if you're hearing clearly. Otherwise,
শুনতে পাচ্ছি কিন্তু সামনে।
I can speak louder.
হ্যাঁ। এক মিনিট। তুমি ওই ক্যামেরাটা ওই ক্যামেরাটা এখানটায় ধরতে বল কাউকে। এক মিনিট জাস্ট। সাউন্ড কোথায়? দাদা ওই জ্যাকটা কোথায়? এটা সাউন্ডটা দিন। একবার বলতে বল। একবার বলতে বল।
আরেকবার বলছি,
হ্যাঁ।
শোনা যাচ্ছে কি মোটামুটি পরিষ্কার?
It's perfect, sir.
Okay, very good. Very good. Thank you very much. Shami Shivapudananda Ji Maharaj, Hilda Peacock Madam, Bharati Ranjana, students, teachers, Shubarna, I know so many people in Filix School in Nandritham. It is a great pleasure for me to be addressing you. It would have been even better if I could have done being there, but unfortunately, this is my in the United States, so I could not be there. But I hope I will see you people at a later date. Filix School and Nandritham has a very special place in my heart. I have many visits to the school, and as I keep saying, I have learned so many things during my meetings with students, with teachers, and what I saw a bit jokingly true that 3D printing that I used to hear about living in New York and in Delhi, the first time I got to see 3D printing was in your school, Filix school, Purulia, in Para. Friends, I just wanted to remind you, the students receiving this honor for the leadership that you are going to provide, that in the end, the heart of a country's development and progress is education. There's nothing really more important than that. We talk in terms of, I am an economist, I talk in terms of fiscal policy, monetary policy, and many such things. Those things are important. But if you look back into history, for almost any region in the world, the correlation and association between education, the creative mind, and the progress of society is visible all the way through history. Think of Greece, Athens, 400 years BC. We are seeing the rise of ideas through the works and minds of Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. Before that, there were the mathematicians like Pythagoras. And a little after that, it is because of this foundation in ideas and science and creativity that you see the rise of Greece in terms of its economy, in terms of its political grandeur. All comes after that, showing thereby the importance of the world of ideas. If you think of 15th and 16th century Italy, on the one hand, you're seeing the rise of minds like artists and creators like Leonardo da Vinci, scientists like Galileo, philosophers like Machiavelli, and then you're seeing the rise of the Italian economy. Once again, it's the creativity of the mind which is driving society. And you think of Great Britain in the 18th and 19th century, Adam Smith, David Hume, Lewis Carroll, the person who wrote Alice in Wonderland, who was also a mathematician. It's the rise of these ideas, and along with that, it's Britain that is rising. And people very often talk about 20th and 21st century United States. It is true that USA is a big economic power. But what people very often forget is the foundation of the United States is the university, is the space for ideas and research, which is given a huge amount of importance in the United States. And that is what led to its rise. Today, we are seeing, for instance, an economy which used to be as poor as India 40, 50 years ago. I'm talking of South Korea. Last year, South Korea overtook Japan in terms of per capita income, and that would have been unthinkable even 10 years, 20 years ago. But the foundation of South Korea, again, is education. In fact, the importance to school education that South Korea has given has caused this rise. And I'm talking of examples from around the world, but you think of India and where you are sitting, Bengal, the rise that we saw in what is very often referred to as the Bengal Renaissance or the Indian Renaissance, starting with Ram Mohan Roy. I find it fascinating that Ram Mohan Roy, his urge for knowledge was so strong that he was learning geometry in Persian. So using Persian language, he was learning Euclidean geometry. And after that, you see the rise of ideas in Bengal flourishing through Swami Vivekananda prominently, Rabindranath Thakur, Jagadish Chandra Bose, a bit before that, Vidyasagar. It's an amazing rise. and that is having an impact on all of India. I'm saying all this to remind you, students, that you are at a wonderful place. This institution, the Filix School, it is giving you the opportunity to develop your mind. And the development of the mind, the development of the creativity, and when I talk of the mind and creativity, it can be of many different kinds. Some of you will be very strong in mathematics and science. Some will be strong in literature and philosophy. There's scope for many different kinds of creativity. Music is creativity. Art is creativity. These are the things that you want to nurture in school. You know, I want to tell you from my personal experience that you are young, you will go through life ahead of you. There will be ups and downs in life. But very often, what turns out to be a disadvantage often turns out to be an advantage later on. Let me tell you something from my own life and experience. I enjoy my life as a teacher and a researcher. That is what I was born to do. I was, as some of you will know, I was the chief economist of the World Bank for 4 years. But it is very interesting that I came back to the World Bank as the chief economist, and I enjoyed those 4 years, though I was missing my life as a teacher and a researcher during even that period. But one piece of bad luck for me turned out to be very good luck in retrospect. You know, when I was a student in London finishing my studies, I was studying with someone whose name all of you will know. Professor Amartya Sen was my teacher. I appeared for a job interview with the World Bank. And I passed the first round of the interview, and then I was called to Paris for the second round of interview. And I was very excited. I was a student. In those days, travel was not that common. So I would be taken to Paris for an interview with the World Bank. And my parents in Kolkata, when I told them, they were also very excited that I might get that job. And then I would be with the World Bank all my life. I went to Paris. I took that final interview and I failed that interview. I did not get the job. I was, of course, disappointed. But I have to tell you, for me, it was one of the luckiest things that happened, not getting that job. I'm not temperamentally meant to be a bureaucrat. A World Bank would have been a fancy bureaucrat with a big salary, but that is not my temperament. I would have done it. If I took it, I would have done it sincerely. That would be my job. But not getting it meant that I discovered the space of the world of teaching and research. And in retrospect, I have no doubt that for me, that was a much more exciting career, a career in teaching and research than I would have been at the World Bank. In fact, when I became chief economist of the World Bank, in my first lecture to the World Bank, I went, of course, at a very senior level, but I jokingly told them that my biggest luck is that I did not spend all my life working in the World Bank. And I was lucky enough not to get that job, that I could be in teaching and research, which I enjoy. I want to give you one piece of advice. Your students at this stage, I must tell you that, you know, in life, we will, of course, everybody has to do that. You will have to earn, you will have to work, you will have to support people. So all that is indeed important. But that must never be central. The earning of the income and the money must never be central in life. It's a much more satisfying life you will have if you have larger concerns, if you also have kindness and compassion for humanity, really the divisiveness of society, breaking it up into groups of caste and religion, there should be no space for that. One reason why the Ramakrishna mission is very close to my heart is that it nurtures these values of universalism, this greater commitment that we all ought to have in life. There's a beautiful story. I read it some time ago, a bit jokingly by Swami Vivekananda writing about what is money and wealth. And though he says it almost as a joke, Vivekananda could be very funny. There is also a little bit of economic lesson in there. So let me tell you what the story is about. This is Vivekananda's writing this letter on the 2nd of March, 1898, sitting in Belur Mott. He's sitting there and writing a letter to Miss Mary Hale. And he's talking about wealth and property. And he gives a beautiful illustration. There is a young man and a woman. They want to get married. They are very well suited, the bride and the groom. But trouble stems from the fact that the bride's father says, I will only allow my daughter to marry a man who has 1,000,000 rupees of wealth. The first thought for the bride and the bridegroom was that much wealth the groom does not have. So, how will they get married? When they find a matchmaker, a very intelligent matchmaker, the matchmaker comes and tells the groom that I will give you 1,000,000 rupees. Will you allow me to cut and take away your nose? To which the groom says, no, I don't want to give up my nose even for 1,000,000 rupees. So then the matchmaker goes to the bride's father and says, I have managed to ascertain that the groom has wealth of at least 1,000,000, which he will not part with even for that much money because it's of greater value to him than the 1,000,000 rupees. It's his nose. And the marriage takes place and they are happily married. This is the little story that Vivekananda says. And actually, if you think of modern day economics, value is anything that you value. It does not have to be sheer material wealth or money. Anything that is valued is valued. And my own belief is, as we go into the future, if we human beings are going to survive the world and go forward, our national income, GDP, cannot be valued simply as money as wealth. There are many other things that we value, and actually, in fundamental economics, anything that is of value is a part of GDP. And I believe the future growth of the world will, if we survive, human beings will have to have the intelligence to survive, will have to have the kindness and compassion. All these traits are extremely important. If we manage to have that, if we manage to put our mind to it and survive and move forward, it will be a very different kind of world that we will move into. Dear students, you are watching today the world. There is a war going on in Ukraine. Every time I watch television, it is heartbreaking to see families being torn asunder. There is a lot to do to the world, to give to the world. It will not be easy. There are no guarantees that we will succeed, but you're getting some of the finest education. Put that to use. You will go to college, study further, put that to use. Yes, some of this will indeed for yourself. You will want to be better off, live a better life, but learn to contribute to society the way you are seeing your school and the initiative that is being put together. So, with those words, let me end wishing you all the very best in life and what lies ahead of you. I've been telling the people at Nanritam, Ranjana, and Bharati that I'm hoping very much that I will be there in summer. And if that happens, I would love to see all of you when I am there. Thank you very much.
Sir, if you are online, I apologize for this. I have no words to say how very uplifting your message has been and how much I personally am able to take away from his words of wisdom. I am so sorry that I did not bring a pen and a paper and note down so many things that he said that we, all of us, as a school, as my fellow teachers, as pupils, can take away. Nevertheless, you have asked me to speak, and so I have really a very brief message for the newly elected prefects and the student council. Before I begin, thank you very much, Filix School, always for your warmth, for your hospitality, for the affection that you shower on both of us as we come here. We feel so much that we belong to this part of the school, to this part of the country, and definitely we belong. Thursday morning, at least I belong in your class. Congratulations, Student Council. You have been chosen out of an entire body of pupils. You have been chosen because your teachers, your school, principals, others believe that you are worthy of trust, that you have in you already the seeds of leadership, which they will now nurture and hone and enable you to become leaders in the very true sense. And so today I ask you, yes, you're asking me to turn around and face the mic, yes. And so today I will ask you, what are the qualities of a leader? What do you really mean when you say he or she is a good leader? And so, my dear pupils, let me first apologize to you as an entire generation that we have failed to give you good role models for leadership. If you look at sports icons, we won't talk about politicians right now. So, look at arts and crafts, you look at public life, and you'll find very, very few examples. Come on, very, very few examples of a truly good leader. Then I ask you, who is a good leader? What are the characteristics? What are the hallmarks of a good leader? And so today I will share with you what I have put down as maybe what you want to say the mic? No. What makes a good leader? Or then you ask me, so what must I do to be a good leader? How can I, class 9, standard 9, standard 10, 13, 14, 15-year-old maybe, what can I do to be a good leader? Let me give you 4 examples. Firstly, children, a good leader sets an example. You cannot ask anyone to do something that you have not done, you are not willing to do. You know, we always say a good leader knows the way, shows the way, goes the way. That means what? That you are always to be an example. Is it hard? Of course it's hard. It's like living in a fishbowl. Everything you do will be open to public viewing. Everything you say will be repeated several times over. There is no room for you to make a mistake. There is no room for you to fall out of line. And you cannot say, oh, I'm in my home, so I will do this. Or you cannot say, oh, I'm going to the market, so I can behave like this. No. In uniform, out of uniform, in school, out of school, in term time, during the holidays, you will be an example. You will inspire all those children, those classmates, schoolmates who are not school leaders to look at you and say, I want to be like her. I want to be like him. And that is the burden of leadership. Today you'll feel very happy. You'll say that, oh, I'm a leader. I'm the boss. I will tell people how to, not how, what to do. And they must all listen to me. You know, one of the ways as leaders, people say they don't listen to me. What I'm trying to say, you cannot ask people to listen to you. You have to do it. And that leads me to my second quality of leadership, service. Who is a leader? A leader is that person who first gets down and uses their hands. They make their hands dirty because they do things. They do not sit on the top and tell people, oh, you do this, you do this. You have to actually go down and what we call elbow grease. Get your hands working. A leader serves. Some of the greatest leaders that I have known have actually walked that way several times, have served their groups. Leaders I know who have tied towel and taken basin and washed their followers' feet. That is the kind of leaders the school needs and the country needs. Leaders who are an example, leaders who serve. Now I'm going to tell you two other things. My last two examples are not something, children, that you are going to do, may not be doing right now. But definitely in the course of your life, you're going to be asked to do that. And one of the things that you will be asked to do is to make judgments. May not be right now, class 9, class 10, but even now you will have to think of deciding which is the right thing to do and which is not the right thing to do. Children who are not in line, children who are constantly late, children who are wearing the wrong uniform, you will be called to judge, to take a decision. Remember, always, always be just. Always be just. Never, never be unfair. Being just or being fair sometimes hurts because then you're choosing somebody else over your best friend. You're choosing a principle or a school rule over your brother or sister. You understand what I'm saying? All of us have been there, right? All of us know what that is. I'm asking you to be just. But there's one thing more I want to say. As you go on in life, many times you will be asked to make judgments. And because of all that you have gained in this wonderful school, you will be just. But then, sometimes you have to add mercy or kindness to just. Be just. That's your first principle. And then add a little kindness. Look beyond the rules. Look beyond the hard law and go one step further. Don't be unjust. Don't be unjust. Be kind. Big difference. You ask me this how to do it. You know, I tell you, a school like yours prepares you for it. You know how? When you sit in the morning for your meditation, what are you doing then? You're strengthening your character. You're strengthening your soul. And that strengthening of this soul and the character will enable you to find justice, to find mercy. And then this last point of mine, children, you know, often you will be asked to make a decision, not judgment, a decision. Make a rule. And as you grow older, some of you are going to take your very, very important places in society, in government, in corporate life, in education. And I really wish you well today. May you reach where you aspire to. And then you will be called not to judge, but to make a decision. Then how will you know that this is a right decision? At that time, you stop and you ask yourself one question. Say, this decision that I'm going to make, how will it affect others? Now, not everyone others. How will it affect the weakest person? How will it affect the least powerful? How will it affect the most disadvantaged? How will it affect the little, the least, the lost? How will my decision change that person at the end of the line? That person. And when you are assured, yes, my decision is going to enable that person to have an easier, better, safer life, then you know it's a right. Many people think that Mahatma Gandhi said this. Mahatma Gandhi didn't say this. Mahatma Gandhi said that John Ruskin said this. You understand? It is Mahatma Gandhi's principle, but he's taken it out of John Ruskin's book, where John Ruskin said, when you make a decision in life, all important decisions, laws for our country, statutes, rules for the school, fees, whatever you say, make sure that it protects you. This is my call to you today. I can't tell you how proud and happy I am to belong to this family, how proud and happy I am to see you all in this lovely uniform with your sashes and badges and scrolls. You have made a great promise today. Blessings on you as you go forward on life, and my warm wishes and congratulations to each one of you. Thank you.
I would request the Students' Council to stand up and bow down to her for a precious message to you. Thank you, ma'am. I would request our Secretary, ma'am, Ranjana Singh Gupta, ma'am, for the vote of thanks, followed by the school song and national anthem.
It is with great joy and pride that I stand here this morning at the end of a solemn and deeply moving ceremony to propose a vote of thanks. A function like this would not be possible without the planning, organizing, and execution of people in the institution. Firstly, I offer my humble pranam to Swami Shiva Pradhanandaji Maharaj for his gracious presence with us this morning. His blessings and benediction will remain with us long after this program is over. Our heartfelt thanks to Professor Kaushik Basu, who has taken out his time from his busy schedule to address our newly invested school leaders from New York at the odd hours of the day. It's 11:30 there while he has started his speech. We are fortunate to have him as a chief mentor of this institution. Kaushikda is our very own. His every visit to our campus teaches us what a role model should be. Curious as a child, humble with the enlightenment of knowledge, and compassionate as a true human being. Hilda Peacock, ma'am, I don't have apt words. I could not probably say enough about your guidance, advice, mentorship, and above all the love you have shown to our school, our teachers, our staff, and of course to our children. Your presence is so special to us. Filix School is really honored by the presence of a legendary educationist like you, ma'am. We're proud to feel you are a member of our Filix family. This event would not have possible without the principal ma'am who had worked tirelessly for the school and specially to make this occasion a success. My deep gratitude to her always. Our beloved teachers, a big thank you for all. Everything you invest in the lives of these peoples will yield a rich harvest. Thank you, Shubhana Bhaskar and their team who came all the way from Calcutta in a short notice to cover this occasion digitally. Thank you, parents, guests, and all the Nandritam family who have taken time off to be here today physically. There are many people who have joined from all parts of India and, of course, some are from abroad. I think Lena has also joined in the middle of the night from Finland. It is 2:30 there. So, my thanks to all of them. Last but not the least, our heartfelt love and best wishes to our dear students who are assembled here today. The main purpose of the Student Council is to nurture the leadership qualities and to build up the team spirit so that they can learn to work unitedly
to help each other and to share their success and failures together. As Swami Shivapradanandaji said, this institution is the institution behind. Lokeshwaranandaji is the main inspiration behind all activities of Nanvedam. We are fortunate enough to have him in the years of 90s. May I conclude with Swami Lokeshwaranandaji's word: education should certainly aim at making a people thoughtful, intelligent, rational, capable, and responsive to new ideas. But more important, it should also make him moral, kind, generous, and selfless. Once again, I thank you all.
With the permission of the House, I just move a little away from being formal. I would request the Students' Council to stand up and thank Bharati ma'am and Ranjana ma'am for the whole show. They are behind everything that they do. Bharati ma'am is always particular that the students get their best, and Ranjana ma'am is the brainchild of everything. So with the permission of the House, I thank both of them. Shaurav sir, would you please come up on the stage so that we can say thank you by just with the student council bowing down to you because they were nurtured. Please come up, sir. Please come up, sir. You have spent hours behind them. The perfection that they have, the perfect way of matching this, the way of standing, everything goes to Shaurav sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Students' Council may remain standing. I would request the House to stand up for the school song, followed by the national anthem. In the meantime, I just would like to inform that Hilda Peacock ma'am is leading our choir teachers, and the days that she was not here, Kaveri ma'am led them and guided them through. And the school song is written by her. We will be no doubt giving a loud applause to them after we finish the formal program. Students' Council, please take your position.
We are like the turbulent clouds, and we want to know the way. Teach us to be honest, teach us to be true, teach us to be loving in all we say and do. Felix children, we are here today, and we want to know the way. We are searching for the one true light that will keep our goal inside. We are building even such a tree, the path that will lead to right. Teach us to be honest, teach us to be true, teach us to be loving in all we say and do. Felix children, come to school today, and you will be blessed always. Felix children, come to school today, and you will be blessed always.
गगनमनयधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जन जन मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
The formal program is over, so now we can put our hands to them for a loud applause, please. The Students' Council will go down for the guard of honor for the guests. Children, please be seated. Guests also may take their seats. I would request Ranjana ma'am to take the guests, and the school captain will introduce the captains with Hilda ma'am, Secretary Maharaj sir, and other guests who are here.
Hey, Shubho, battery কোথায়?
Bharati ma'am, doctors, respected guests, please, please, requested to Dr. Ashish Chatterjee sir, guard of honor for all the guests. Sir, Mr. Mukherjee sir, parents are requested to please take the guard of honor. Please move in between the lines. Teachers, help them out. It's an honor, parents, that your children have been selected for the school council cabinet. Please, I would request the teachers to follow the parents. You are to be honored too. All teachers to please follow. Shubhana, Manu, please. Shapun sir, please. Teachers, no, please walk in between. They should be honoring you all for their selection. Shaurav sir, finally Shaurav sir, where the students' council should be saluting him as he walks in between. Please salute him and give a clap. Students, please give a clap. Thank you. Thank you, all of you. I would request the parents to wait for tea. The other teachers may take the students to their classrooms. The newly elected captains will just wait for some time. Thank you so much.
আমার ফোনটা